So first thing is that why distribution load flow I have covered, because most of the, I mean, generally except one or two books, you may not find the distribution load flow method in detail. Therefore, and generally in our country and in abroad also, that distribution network generally radial in nature. So that's why their load flow methodology is different than your conventional load flow in the for transmission system. Because for transmission system, we have already those who have done that power system analysis, or you have. I assume that most of you are in third year or fourth year. That there you have studied the Newton-Raphson method, that coupled Newton-Raphson method, decoupled Newton-Raphson method, and fast decoupled load flow method. In addition to that, perhaps you have also studied Gauss-Seidel method. But in the case of distribution load flow, that your coupled Newton-Raphson method, it works very well, but computationally may not be that efficient. But decoupled or fast decoupled, but that most of the problem, that even decoupled also, it does not converge. That's why that two load flow methods, whatever has been what you call, if you have gone through those lecture, that you have seen that the radiality of the network have been, or what you call, has been exploited to get the solution of the load flow solution of radial distribution network. For example, method one, I don't have any paper, pen, anything, but I'm just trying to tell you, just you try to recall in your memory. I'm trying to tell you from my memory only that it is radial in nature. That means radial in nature means electrically it is radial, right? That means power flow is unidirectional. That is your from source towards the tail end of the feeder, right? So power flow unidirectional. Generally, what happens in the distribution system when we are coming, basically your most radial feeders, they are 11 kV, right? In front of your home or in your institute also, you have seen pole mounted distribution transformer. Those are 11 kV by 440 or 433 volt, right? So those are 433 volt side we do not consider, not possible actually, right? Only we consider for radial load flow for 11 kV distribution system. Our country it is 11 kV. Most of the cases in Europe also you will find many distribution feeders are of 11 kV. And source is actually power. Actually, in the power system, you will find that power is generated for your generating plant. That is your maybe that terminal voltage of the generator, which is your in your power plant. It depends on its rating. Maybe 9 kV, maybe 9.5 kV, maybe 11.2 kV, maybe 15 or 16 kV also. And then the voltage will be stepped up, right, through step-up transformer. Say for example, generator terminal voltage is 11 kV, and your step-up transformer say 11 kV by 220 kV. Then this 220 kV line will be taken. Then further it will be your what you call, it will be bring down maybe 220 kV by 132 kV, 220 kV by 66, 32 kV by 11 kV, or 132 kV by your 33 kV, or 66 kV, 33 kV, then 33 kV to 11 kV. So that substation, that means the substation, whatever we have taken as a slack bus for the distribution load flow, that slack bus actually, it is your substation, right? It may be that substation may be 132 by 11 kV, maybe 66 by 11 kV, or maybe your 33 by 11 kV. After that, that 11 kV line goes and it is radial. As long as that in that course, distributed generators we have not considered. As long as distributed generators are not connected anywhere in the distribution system, so generally your what you call that your power flow is radial, that is unidirectional, right? So network is geometrically radial as well as your electrically also radial. Whenever we talk about radial distribution network, it is actually electrical, electrically or radial distribution network, right? Whenever we talk about radial. Now that your, but we are not considering any distributed generation in the distribution network, right? So in that case, what will happen that some methodologies must be developed. So that's why whenever we are discussing about the method one, that load flow analysis of radial distribution network, I have explained in detail, which you may not find anywhere, that how to prepare data, how to write the code also, everything is explained, right? What actually we are doing it, that method one, first come to the method one, if I recall correctly, that one, that your first thing is we assume that resistance and reactance of every branch is known. That is, your R and X values are known, right? Resistance and reactance are known. Then your load data, that is reactive power load, real power load, and reactive power load, these two are also known, right? At every node, I mean, a node means wherever you have 11 kV, say by 433 or 440 volt distribution transformer, right? That has been taken as a node, right? So what we are doing is that means, and slack bus voltage magnitude as well as its angle is known. Both are known. Slack bus voltage magnitude and its angle is known, right? Then what we are doing is that you have to start the flat voltage start. Flat voltage start means we assume that initially all the node voltage is equal to the slack bus voltage. That is called flat voltage start. For example, if the slack bus voltage is 1 angle 0, then suppose if it is a bus 1, then bus 2, 3, 4, up to n number of buses, right? There I have taken NB, that all the initial voltages are 1 angle 0. Once you have done that, then you find out the load current at every, for every load. For example, at node 2, load is PL2 and QL2. Real power load is PL2, reactive power load is QL2. Then we can write PL2 minus JQL2 is equal to V2 conjugate IL2. IL2 is the load current that is going through that load connected to node 2, right? So I think those who have done power system analysis or this course, I have already explained why do we consider conjugate. Conjugate means to capture the power factor angle between your, what you call, between voltage and current, when voltage and currents are purely sinusoidal, right? So this way, that means your IL2, for example, current going through load 2 is PL2 minus JQL2 upon V2 conjugate. So PL2, QL2 known, and V2 conjugate initially flat voltage starts. Initial values of V2, V3 all are known. That means IL2 will get PL2 minus JQL2 upon V2 conjugate. IL3 will get PL3 minus JQL upon V3 conjugate up to NB number of nodes. That is your INB will be, your ILNB will be your PLNB minus JQLNB divided by your VNB conjugate. This way, all the initial currents you will get, right? So initial load currents will go because initial voltages are known. So once you know initial load currents of all the loads, right, then you can compute the branch current. For example, just I can imagine from here. For example, current of branch 1, it is like a KCL, right? That is your Kirchhoff's what you call currents law, right? So actually that pronunciation, I think C should remain silent. It will be Kirchhoff, right? So question is that the KCL when will apply the current in the first branch, right? First branch. Say I1 is the current in branch 1. You sum up all the load current, that will be the current through branch 1, right? So and this way I have given you in a tabular form that how many your what you call, how many nodes are there beyond each branch, and accordingly you are just adding those load current. Although algorithm can be written to identify those your what you call branch beyond each node, that also can be identified, but I have made it very easy for you that we have your beyond each branch how many nodes are there, right? So accordingly you add and you will get the each initial branch current of each your what you call of the network, right? Like I1, I2, all the branch current you will get. Once you get all the branch current, right, then you calculate that next iteration the voltage V2, V3 like this. So if I imagine from here, V2 actually is equal to V1 minus I1 into Z1, right? V1 is known because it's slack bus voltage. I1 already known. Impedance of each branch is known. So you will get V2. Then if V2 is known, then V3 will be V2 minus your I2 into Z2. And the way I have given, many lateral branches also coming out. So accordingly, you can calculate all your what you call voltages, the voltages of all the nodes, right? Once you have got the new voltages, with this new voltages, again you compute the load current, right? New load current, right? IL2 will be again PL2 minus JQL2 upon P2 conjugate. Whatever now V2, V3 you have got, with this new voltage, you calculate your what you call the load current, right? New load current. And with this new load current, again you compute the new branch current. Just put it in a loop, right? And finally, but you have to stop somewhere. You have to go up that your what you call that convergence. You have to find out what will be the convergence criteria. There may be many ways to find out the convergence criteria. If I recall, I might have told you two different convergence criteria. One is that what you can do is that every iteration, I mean, you take the difference of the voltage of every node. For example, delta V2, you take absolute of V2K plus 1 minus V2K, right? V2K plus 1 means that is current iteration and K is the previous iteration. This way you take delta V3, delta V4 like this. Out of all, this is magnitude you have to take because absolute. After that, you take the maximum of that. I mean, you take delta V max is equal to max of all the differences, right? And if this delta V max less than equal to say 10 to the power minus 4, your solution has converged. Generally, take 3 to 4 iterations to converge most of the cases. Now, the another way of finding out your what you call that your convergence criteria, where stop, that what you can do is that you know all the loads, right? You know loads. Sum up all the loads. Sum up PL, sum up QL. All the load, the real power load, you sum up. All the QL, you sum up, right? Now, you find out what is the input power at the substation. So, input power means at substation, suppose injected power is PS, real power, QS, the reactive power. Therefore, PS minus JQS is equal to V1 conjugate I1. Because you know I1 every time. So, PS is equal to real of V1 conjugate I1 and QS will be minus imaginary of V1 conjugate I1. So, PS and QS you will get. Then what you do, P loss will be PS minus sum up all the real power load. Similarly, your QS will be, you just make your what you call QS minus sum up all the reactive power load. You will get the your what you call, you will get the loss. P loss will be PS minus sum up all the real power load and Q loss will be QS minus sum up all the reactive load, right? So every iteration you do that, and similarly previous iteration and current iteration, if both real power as well as reactive power, if this loss difference say 10 to the power minus 4 or 10 to the power minus 5, your solution has converged, right? So these two convergence criteria I have told you. Now, this is method one. This method is very simple one, right? Today, whatever my age, just when my age was half of this or less than that, at that time actually I developed that method, right? So nearly 30 years back. So this is my, I mean, in those days that distribution, research in distribution side, very, I mean, not used to get importance. Mostly it was on transmission side, but today most of you will find people are focusing on the distribution side. Now, before going to method 2, I will tell you one more thing, that whatever we are your what you call that slack bus, and you know 3 type of buses generally: slack bus, PV bus, PQ bus. This you have already studied, but recently many more buses have been introduced for in power. Means one bus where all quantities are unknown. PS, QS, V and delta, these quantities as substations all are known, right? That means how much power you are buying from the substation, your grid, that is fixed. That is that all quantities are known at substation. Then one bus should be, at least one bus should be there, that is called zero bus. Beyond the scope of this, some other type of buses are your P bus and PQV bus. This also, this concept has come, transmission as well as distribution. Another new bus is there, that is called Q bus and PQV bus. I mean, if PQV bus is there, P bus has to be there. If PQV bus is there, Q bus also has to be there. But here we cannot discuss that just from my this thing, because those things are not there in your course. But many new type of buses are coming up, because concept in electrical engineering is changing, because we are thinking of microgrid, right, nanogrid. So all the and distributed generators, solar, PV, all getting connected. Then 12 cells, batteries, right, micro turbine, all these things, diesel generator, all these things are coming up. So those things are those buses are important for many, particularly for economic load dispatch, or how much power must be injected by DGs. Those buses are very important. Now, in the case of method 2, what we have done is that we have tried to find out what is the total load fed through every node. Right. For example, node 2, what is the total load fed through every node, right? That means you have to find out that proper node 2 you take, you add all the loads. You add all the loads, right? Then what you do, you add all the branch losses beyond node 2, right? That will be total load fed to the node 2. That is, P2 will be sum of all the loads, including load PL2 plus the losses. Similarly for Q2, that all the reactive loads, including reactive load of node 2 plus the losses beyond all the branches beyond node 2. Similarly, node 3 also. This way, what we have done, that I made very hard work for you. If you look at the video lecture, then particularly for the method 2, you will find how many iterations I have shown. I do not know, perhaps 3 or 4 iterations till it converges. And there, that all the methodology is slightly different. Previously, we are computing that your what you call that voltage, which giving magnitude as well as angle. Although in distribution system, that voltage angle is very small. Starting from the source, that is your substation, to tail end of the feeder, that angle varies hardly from 0 to 3 degrees. Very small, right? But in this case, method 2, we are computing voltage magnitude, right? But we can compute angle also, but our interest was to compute the voltage magnitude. This way, this method also, details have been shown, and all the steps have been shown, all the calculations have been shown, and I believe that all the calculations, whatever I made of my own, that I think it is correct, right? If any, every time I'm telling those who are taking these courses or listening, that if you find any calculation error, you should send me mail. But after recording, I didn't see any mail from anywhere. I believe it is correct, because everything I did it of my own, right? And assuming that all the calculations are correct. So this method, particularly this method 2, is very helpful for voltage stability study of distribution network, right? So in that case, whatever, listen, whatever you are getting from here, I cannot show you, but one interesting thing, you have studied short line, you have studied medium line, you have studied long line, right? So generally, whenever we have studied for transmission system, medium line, short line, medium line, and your long line, generally we represent equivalent pi model, right? Because we consider charging admittance. The question is that transmission system charging admittance is very prominent, right? But for overhead distribution system, that charging admittance we neglect because it is negligible. But if it is a distribution cable, then of course your what you call that you have to consider your charging admittance, right? But cable, underground cable, we are not considering. We have considered overhead distribution line, and it is 11 kV, so that charging admittance is negligible, right? So in that case, whenever you have studied in various books, particularly come to the medium line, that you are finding out receiving end voltage in terms of your sending end voltage, and the current I in terms of the current I and the resistance R and X, right? If you go through my derivation of all these things, there you will find that it is actually that equation is coming a VR to the power 4. If I recall correctly, I can tell you that if for transmission power, whenever suppose sending end voltage is Vs, receiving end voltage is VR, right? Then if and receiving end power is P and Q, if the current flowing through this line is I, and if the resistance and reactance are R and X respectively, then the equation I can say, if you look into the distribution system, equation will be Vr to the power 4 plus in bracket 2Pr plus 2Qx minus Vs square bracket close into Vr square plus P square plus Q square bracket close into R square plus X square is equal to 0. Right. That means this equation will have this equation will have 4 solutions. Right. Out of these 4 solutions, only you can prove, you try yourself, you can prove only one solution is feasible. Right. And other 3 solutions are not feasible. Right. But you are getting 4 solutions. But whenever you are reading any textbook, particularly for transmission system, medium line, short line, particularly medium line, right? Many cases they have made it some approximation, but basically four solutions will be available. Out of which 3 solutions are not feasible, and only one solution is feasible, right? So that's why in that case, that solution is taken. Now, question is that if you take that your VR square so somebody has written, I'm coming to that, that if you take VR square is equal to X, then it will be quadratic equation of VR square, right? Accordingly, that you have studied in your higher secondary for your what you call for real solution, B square minus 4AC greater than equal to 0. Same, if you have a VR square should be positive, then we have applied that concept, and then whatever VR square you will get, you take only VR solution, minus 1 you neglect, because magnitude cannot be negative, right? This way, a voltage stability index has been, for every node has been obtained, and the node which has the highest value is most sensitive to the voltage collapse. Generally, voltage collapse happens because of reactive power shortage. Somebody has written that physically whether we can get that positive, negative, and zero sequence. I think it is in power system analysis course. Yes, physically, I mean laboratory, you can make it. You can make it, right? And many what you call from here I cannot explain all these things. But in power system analysis, it is there positive, negative, and but not this power system engineering course, right? And actually, positive, negative, and sequence concept has made our solution is what you call our analysis is very easier. It has made it very easier, right? And whatever we have discussed for distribution side, these are for balanced system, not for unbalanced system, right? So unbalanced system, that you have to consider that mutual coupling between the conductors as well as between the conductors and the neutral wire, right? In that case, your solution, whatever method 1, method 2 have studied, particularly the method 1, that methodology has to be different, because at that time it cannot be represented by single line diagram, because those are represented by single line diagram, assuming that distribution networks are balanced. But if it is unbalanced, that you cannot you have to, but each branch, if it is a single phase, or it is a 2 phase, or it is a 3 phase, you have to represent by a 3x3 impedance matrix, considering the mutual impedance also. So those things are beyond the scope, not possible also to do in the classroom studies, right? That's why that unbalanced distribution network I have not considered for this course, right? But good books are there. But solution methodology is what you call is I have my own code for unbalanced system also, but those things are different. Even for your what you call that loss calculation, power loss calculation for unbalanced system will be different, right? Because you have to find out the losses for phase A, phase B, phase C, right? So three phases are there. Neutral can be eliminated by some what you call by some methodology. So these things we have made what you call load flow studies 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and the voltage stability analysis. Now, and regarding this, your what you call when we'll come for your this course, that is your automatic generation control. It is there, right? And your then after your that time for your third lecture, hope by that time I will be able to go to studio there I will tell many things about your automatic generation control, but other topics in this course like insulator, sag and tension, right? These things I believe quite easy, and you can easily your study of your own, right? And but your this automatic generation control part, and I believe unit commitment is also there. So those things when they will come to the third lecture, right? Third live session. Hope by that time I'll be able to go to studio. There I'll tell you many basic things. And this load flow studies, if anything, I don't have your webcam also. I cannot explain many things also by writing, right? But at present, sitting at home, right? I think last 13 or 14 days, I went out twice. It is also for a few minutes from home. And most of the time, sitting at home, right? Hope you people are also sitting at home, right? And submit your assignment. And all the assignment problems, I have found that your things are very comfortable for you. And try your best and do well. And and before your exam, definitely I will take another live session. And at that time, if it exceeds more than 1 hour, I will preparing 6 to 7 o'clock or even beyond that, right? I'll talk much more about automatic generation control and everything I will try. But load flow studies for distribution system, those who are particularly those who are MTech student, those who are teachers, that you must concentrate. I do not have time here. Otherwise, I should have explained something on PPQV bus, then your QPQV bus, then zero bus. These are very interesting because that concept of microgrid is coming up, right? AC microgrid, DC microgrid, then AC DC microgrid, right? So load flow studies will be different there, right? Different concepts are involved. So those are beyond the scope. In future, if anything I record on microgrid in NPTEL, then at that time definitely I will think. But at present cannot think now, right? So if you have anything, sir, what you have written, please post your queries in the chat box. Please say everyone option. But I do not know how can I see. I can see 2-3 of you, right? But like Jaya Babu, I can see. Then Mr. Raju, I can see from here. Then some Chetana is there. I cannot see you, but your name I can see. Then Nikhil. Then Nikhil, I cannot see you, but I can see your name. Right. And your please syllabus should be discussed. Syllabus will be top to bottom, right? I mean, from the beginning to the end. And question paper will be very comfortable to you, all of you. It will be same. If you see previous year's question, if I recall correctly, that will be 20 questions of 1 mark, then 20 questions of 2 marks, so 60 marks, and another 8 questions for 5 marks each. Pattern will remain same. Pattern remain unchanged, right? So each question, 20 question will be 1 mark. You will find very easy. Then 20 question for 2 marks and 8 question 5 marks each. You will find only if somebody wants to get 100 out of 100, that 1 or 2 questions are there in in a little bit tricky. But in the, if I recall correctly, this course as well as your past system analysis course, perhaps some of them have scored 100 out of 100. I was also wondering how he or she, I think one girl got 100 out of 100, one teacher also got 100 out of 100. I cannot recall whether it is power system analysis or power system engineering. I was also wondering how dedicated they were, right? It is not easy that in an NPTEL course one can make 100 out of 100. That means those faculties or one student I know got 100 out of 100. So very much dedication is there. So you try your best, right? And wholeheartedly you should try. And the pattern will remain same, right? And syllabus will remain same, identical. Same syllabus from the beginning to the end, same syllabus. And if I recall correctly, that from every chapter you will find questions, right? If you drop any chapter, then you may miss 1 or 2 questions. So if I recall correctly, that all questions are very, looking at the question, don't be surprised, right? Just read carefully, you will find things are very, very comfortable. Right. So syllabus I told you, pattern of question I told you same as before, because many, apart from the student, many teachers are doing it, many MTech students are also doing it, even NIT faculties are also doing it, right? I have the, I know that NIT faculties are also, they will write the exam also. They will write the exam also. They are also doing it, right? So do this one, and because and try wholeheartedly, and whatever has been covered in the syllabus, just listen carefully and read the book also. You will find things will be very comfortable. I want that all of you should get on an average. I want that average marks should be 70 or more, but it is not happening. Average marks, I don't. But I want that you should do well. You should do well, right? So if you have anything, you can write. I can see. I can see it here. Otherwise, sitting from home, so I don't have that home webcam that I can write also. But sitting in front of the laptop and at home, I am doing it. Right. So, anything else? Anything you want to write, or shall we close the session? So, I cannot see anything here. Right. Just let me see. Let me see. Right. It is level that positive, negative sequence, zero sequence, everything can be done practically, right? So everyone can see your that they have written. And regarding, I told you, positive, negative, zero sequence made things, our analysis very easier, right? And your this thing, and that's all. Sir, I can see you. I think Professor Raju, maybe I can see you here, right? And right now, so we cannot go out of home, right? So sitting at home and studying and doing other activities, of course. Activities, of course. Only academic activities, doing many other academic job, sitting at home. Right. So thank you very much, and thanks you all. But be safe and don't go out from your home. Stay at home. Right. So thank you. So I am now leaving this, right, and wish you all the best in the exam, because of this your this thing, your this lockdown cases. I found today number of participants were less, but next time if I meet, I'll take little bit more, and we'll discuss further, particularly automatic generation control, right? So leaving. So I'm leaving now. Thank you very much. Very good evening.